All ready to go? Oh, somebody help her
so.
that knows. Yeah, thank you. It should be right on there. Just turn it on. It's hard to host and be the tech guy at the same time. So,
Yes.
so Maria has been out there doing her thing. You self-published so many books long before the big, success that you've had now.
Cool, right?
Yeah, you were keto and keto wasn't cool, that's for sure. But you brought along 2 of your little munchkins here today.
I did. I made them push pause. They were playing their iPads in the back. No judging, right? We're in the trust tree. But I wanted to introduce you to my keto kids. And I just want to start by saying that I was interviewed for a podcast about a week ago, and it was a husband and a wife, and they were like, wow, you're like this bad mother who feeds your kids, like says no to cereal and stuff. I was like, really? Because I feed my kids eggs? Everybody knows me as this keto mom? Like, I don't have Pop-Tarts at the house. And this is what they eat, though. This is what they know. And I just want you to meet Micah and Kai if you see them around. You're a little quiet, aren't you? Can you say hi?
Hi. Hi.
We're trying to buy time before my presentation's up. This is Kai.
Hi. Hi.
And if you don't see us in here, we're probably running around by the pool and swimming and doing that type of stuff. We have breakfast out upstairs. I'm still buying time for you.
Yeah,
it's ready?
It says it's on, but it's not on.
It's not on.
It finally came on.
They were doing push-ups with me upstairs. We're still doing primal play, I promise, but we were doing push-ups upstairs. But thanks, guys. You can go play your iPads game.
So Maria, you knew way back when the keto was kind of going to be a trend. What brought it on your radar screen that it would be so big as it is now?
Well, honestly, I wish I would have known keto would have been the cool thing, because I wouldn't have picked like MariaMindBodyHealth.com, right? But I guess when I was 16 years old, I went to the doctor because I wasn't feeling well, and they gave me an antidepressant, an acid blocker, and they told I have PCOS, which is a diabetes that affects female fertility. And I kind of hate my doctor now because they told me it was just the cards I was dealt. There was nothing I could do about it. And so I thought they were right. But I don't know if Jessica got this from me, but I went to the vet that same week, and my doctor, or my vet, said, "What are you feeding her?" That was the question that was asked. And so we went home and we changed our diets, and forever my life was changed. I got healthier, and that's what I decided to go to school for nutrition and exercise physiology. And it was all kind of written in the stars. And what happened was my husband lost his job. Is ready now? Oh, all right. I'll just finish the story. My husband lost his job, and I was just a puddle. And a friend of mine said, you know what? You should write a cookbook to help raise money for your adoption. Because when you lose a job, you lose the adoption. Kind of falls through because of insurance and all of that. And so we lost just about everything. Our cars were gone. And all I had to do was, I had time, so I went to the library and I started writing, and it went gangbusters. And I'm so grateful that, you enjoy my recipes and things like that. So I just want to say thank you, but I'll get started because I know everybody wants some lunch, right? So, okay, I don't really know how to use this, but Craig's my tech man. All right, there we go. So I'm going to talk to you about oxidative priority. And this is really important because if you want to understand how your body uses different fuel sources for energy, so you can finally tap into your fat cells, or your fat stores, and use that for energy, it has to go through all of these different priorities, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. We're going to talk about alcohol a little bit. And as you can see, alcohol is the first priority. We're going to dive into all of these a little bit. But alcohol is the first one. The second one is exogenous ketones. It's going to use that next. And then it's going to go to protein, carbohydrates, fat, and then we're going to use body fat for fuel. So let's start with alcohol. Again, do not kill the messenger. Knowledge is power. I'm from Wisconsin. That's like the beer state. The fact that I haven't had a drink in about 20 years, I'm like the super weirdo in the state, but that's all right. I like feeling like $1 million when I wake up. It's not worth a drink. But alcohol, that is the first thing your body's going to use for fuel because it's totally toxic. We know this. There's no storage site, so it has to burn that. It has about a 15% thermic effect of food, so you get a little bit of a caloric energy boost of that, but still, it messes with your hormones. It stimulates your appetite. You usually eat more when you're drinking. Decreases testosterone. That's why, like, I love to lift weights. I'm not going to lower my testosterone. We need that too, females, for, building muscle. I don't want to wake up Friday morning and lift weights really hard and then go out and get my drink on Friday night so I can just wake up Saturday morning with less muscle mass. But it also increases estrogen. You know that big, beer belly? It's not a beer belly, it's an estrogen belly, just like a postmenopausal woman will suffer from. It's not biologically needed, I don't have to tell you that, but that is alcohol in a nutshell. The next slide, again, do not kill the messenger. If you're into exogenous ketones, whatever, it's fine. But this is oxidative priority number 2. I feel like it's a very expensive way to make ketones. It's not biologically needed. Food is much tastier than a drink. Your body can make all the ketones it needs when you are keto adapted. Higher ketones do not mean better fat burning. In the morning, my ketones are very low. I'm a minimalist. I don't like to test anything, but my ketones are very low. You know why? Because I'm working out really hard in a fasted state. So I'm using that to, as soon as I stop, they're going to go back up. I don't get stressed out about a low ketone number. I'm in ketosis. I eat 0 carbohydrates. Like, my eggs are my carbohydrates. Do you know an egg has a carbohydrate? Yes, it does. It was funny, last night at dinner, I asked my sons, I was like, do you want a Caesar salad? We don't have to get croutons or anything. And they're like, I'm not a vegetarian. That's how little carbohydrates we have at our house. Protein is the next one. But what's really cool about protein is you get this thermic effect of food. Okay? It's about 25%. It's the highest thermic effect of food that you're going to get. The storage site is about 360 grams or 360 calories to 400. This is what's used to make muscles. It's physics. You need protein to make your healthy muscles. There was a time that I bow hunt, if you don't know. I bow hunt and I fish with my kids. My son was in the deer stand with me when we shot a buck this year, which is really cool. But when I don't have, we have 3 chest freezers, and there was a lean year one time, and I wasn't eating enough protein. I definitely noticed it with my size. I lost some muscle mass just because I like to provide for my own family and that type of stuff. But I was eating a lot of eggs for my protein, and to get enough eggs to, so if you talk to a vegetarian that will eat eggs, to get enough eggs to get enough protein to make muscle mass, it's a lot of eggs. It's like an extreme amount. Even at I'm really short, and I still had a hard time maintaining that. But anyway, let's see, it's biologically essential. If you look at the most nutrient-dense foods, they are in protein. Beef, beef liver, organ meat, that type of stuff, that's gonna blow kale, blueberries, everything off the charts. Like, everything. So protein is really important. The next one is carbohydrates. This is oxidative priority number 4. The storage site is about 1,200 to 2,000 calories. It's the highest amount of insulin needed to utilize. It's not very satiating. It causes extreme hunger for most people. What happens is, your blood sugar is going to go up, and a falling blood sugar, that's when hunger happens. So even if you went to, the buffet upstairs and had a ton of food, but it was all like, Dr. Neiman said, donuts and things like that, your belly's super full, but when that blood sugar starts to fall, that's when hunger starts to happen. But if you keep it nice and even, that hunger is gone. I'm a very sensitive person, and I don't like to read Amazon reviews. Jimmy knows this now. But my husband said, oh, you got the best bad review on Amazon. I was like, oh, dude, I don't want to know. And he said, no, they said, I hate this diet, I'm always full. And I was like, oh, that's the point, right? But my mom's super awesome. Hi, Mom, I hope you're not watching this. But she wouldn't like this diet because she likes little meals throughout the day. I, however, love that I only have to eat once because that's how I get all this stuff done, right? Jimmy says, hey, can you put out 50 recipes for me? I'm like, oh, I get like a month? All right, I can do it. You know, so it's just nice to have all that freedom. I don't have to always be constantly cooking, you know, or stopping for a meal anyway. But the next one, let's see. You know what really bugs me is when I see everybody's like, oh, what do you think about Dr. So-and-so saying that you can't do keto for longer than so many days? I'm like, well, that's all we eat. My kids are growing. This is all good. They were actually underweight when they first came here from Ethiopia. They're actually on the growth charts. Kai was so little at 1 year old. He looked like a newborn. And I mean, as you can see, they're like huge. They're growing like mad. And they're really smart kids too. They don't need carbohydrates to grow. But people think about prebiotic fiber. You need carbohydrates for a prebiotic. You know what even a better prebiotic fiber than fiber is? It's collagen, like chicken wings, ribs, like all of that type of stuff. That's what we eat. And that's how we get our prebiotic fiber. Yes, we go number 2 every day. Some people are like, how do you go number 2 without fiber? It's like, newborn babies go number 2 all the time and they don't get fiber. Fiber is a menace. You know, that's why when people have diverticulitis, colitis, Crohn's, all those things, they say don't get any fiber. Well, just stop eating it now before you get all those diseases, right? So fat. So fat is oxidative priority number 5. Theoretically, there's unlimited storage sites for fat. Smallest amount of insulin needed to utilize. But yes, it will increase a little bit. You know, people think that it's you know, you can eat all the fat you want and it won't break it fast. That's not true. It's satiating, true. It's biologically essential. Things like vitamins A, D, E, and K. I talk to clients all the time, and their vitamin D levels are in the tank, but they're taking their vitamin D levels right before bed on an empty stomach. It's like, no, you need, you know, fat for absorption and things like that. It's essential to make hormones. And the sheath of your bones, they're primarily made up of not just any fat, but saturated fat. That demonized fat that we've been told to stop eating, that's what our bones are made out of. I had a great grandma Cress when she was 96 years old. We were at Christmas, and she opened the door, which she thought was the bathroom, but it was to the basement. She fell all the way down the steps onto the concrete floor, and she didn't break one bone. You want to know why? Because I would always go to her house, even when I was like 12 years old. I always help clean out her fridge. And there's always a coffee cup of this grossness in there. I was like, I'm throwing this out. She's like, no, that's like liquid gold. I was like, it's not liquid. And it was lard. That's what she cooks with. But everybody's so afraid of it now. You know? But I believe that is one of the reasons why she didn't break a bone. But now women are shattering bones. They're not just breaking in one spot, they're shattering. But so why this is important to understand is, so if you get rid of alcohol, you don't have to worry about that, right? Get rid of the exogenous ketones is very expensive. You eat protein and about 8.8 times your lean mass, and then you're going to build lean mass. You know, like, I love my strong muscles. I don't want to lose those. Let's get rid of all the carbohydrates because, you don't need them, right? And then you eat fat to satiety. If someone tells you you need to eat at 70% fat, or if they say, you're not losing weight, you need to add more fat. You need to like hang up the phone on them, okay? Because they're wrong. Eat fat to satiety. I get people all the time saying, I didn't eat 70% fat or 80% fat, so I did a shot of MCT oil. Huh? Yuck. Like, who wants to eat that? Eat real food until you're satisfied. I mean, if you want to lose weight, hunger is okay. You know, embrace that. But you want to utilize that body fat for fuel, so let it. If you keep consuming, this is for weight loss. You can do keto for other things. I don't limit my fat intake with my kids, protein intake with my kids. But if you want to utilize your body fat, let it. Okay? Let's see. Thermic defective food, I'm just going to break this down for a little bit. So alcohol, we have 15% thermic defective food. So if you have 100 calories, you're going to net about 85. Let's see. Ketones, you're going to net about 97 out of that 100. Protein, 75. Because you get that, the meat sweats. Kind of love those. Carbohydrates, 92 out of 100. Fat, you're going to get 97 out of 100. So yeah, fat is satiating, but calorie for calorie, it doesn't have as big of a bang of a buck than protein would for you. So for example, 500 calories of bulletproof coffee. You're going to get about 485 plus the impact of caffeine. If you know anybody suffering from PCOS, you know that caffeine is something that does increase androgens, which you do not want to have high. I had to learn that the hard way. I worked at coffee shops since I was 15 years old. Do not shoot the messenger, but caffeine, ask a type 1 diabetic. It does impact your body. 500 calories of sirloin steak. You're only going to really get about 401. Hence the meat sweats, the thermic defective food is going to go on. Plus you're going to build muscle. All right? Always chewing whole foods instead of drinking your calories. I get too many people saying, well, I fasted until about 1 o'clock. All I had was bulletproof coffee. It's like, that's like 500 calories. Try having 500 calories of eggs. You're probably going to stop because it's going to get bored, right? I could throw down a bulletproof coffee like nothing and not, I don't know. Think about it. Protein sparing modified fast. I have an ebook out if you're interested in that. It's basically, getting your protein goal in, limiting that fat so you can burn body fat, basically 0 carbohydrates. A protein sparing modified fast. It's amazing for ramping up weight loss, breaking stalls. It keeps you very satisfied while reducing calories. How to go keto. Let's see. If you focus on 2 things, keeping carbohydrates as low as possible. Again, I told you I'm a minimalist. I don't like to count anything. That's why I never liked the whole Weight Watcher idea when I was, younger and stuff. But shoot for less than 30 grams. Less than 20 total is best. But think about it. Everything has carbohydrates. I had someone that was like doing a tablespoon of cinnamon because someone told them it was good for them. And they were like, wow, do you know how many carbohydrates are in a tablespoon? I was like, a lot. Spices, herbs. Amber's not here, but she spoke on the last cruise I was on, Amber the carnivore. I love her. But even when we were having lunch upstairs, we were asking about the spices put on some of the proteins because that would affect her. She does basically a carnivore type diet because of her depression, anxiety, that type of stuff. And she is off medication if she eats no spices or any carbohydrates. But whenever they sneak in, she has to go back on medication. But you want to hit your protein goal, again, 0.8 times your lean mass of protein every day. If you don't know that, I have a keto calculator on my website, which is totally free, mariamindbodyhealth.com. If you search keto calculator, we'll help you figure out your macros. But if you do those 2 things, you will be in ketosis. And then eat fat to satiety. Things like ribs, chicken wings. Kai, chicken wings, woohoo, right? That's his favorite. That type of stuff is naturally going to have fat in it, Had a big old prime rib last night. That's naturally going to have some fat in it, Let that satiate you. And then fat, this keeps you satiated. Eat that to, keep cravings and hunger at bay. Don't eat for a goal. Again, there's too much, information out there saying if you don't eat 80% fat or whatever it is, you're not going to be in ketosis. Well, that's not true. And if you do that, that's fine if weight loss isn't your goal. But if it is, you have to be aware of this. If carbs and protein are right, you will be in ketosis. You will use dietary fat to make ketones. This is why when you do longer fasts, your ketones go through the roof, right? The more dietary fat there is, the less body fat that will be utilized because it's a harder fuel source to use. You don't have to. You're eating it. Don't forget, obviously, to drink more water. Don't drink while you're eating, but when you are in that fasted state, drink more water. Add the electrolytes. Again, you want to be aware that some medications will have things like potassium in it, so always ask your doctor. And this would help reduce the keto flu. I wish I would have known this when I was about 16 years old because Heavy legs walking upstairs and all of that. I could have really avoided that. I was still afraid of salt when I was younger. I even now bring my own salt with me. It is in my bag right back there. I'm a salt snob. More tips, befriend the crock pot, okay? I am a busy working mom. Before I had kids, I have a husband, Craig, who's awesome, and he would always help clean up dinner while I prepared dinner for the next night. And sometimes it was a slow cooker meal, so I'd throw everything into the slow cooker while he cleaned up. I worked with a psychologist that we talked about the whole idea of having family dinners together, because obviously with, if you're doing like an intermittent fasting window and your kids don't, there's a lot of pressure and stress and judgment that you don't have family dinners together. And they're like, well, it's not the act of actually eating and chewing that's really important. It's the act of having family time together. Well, you know what? We do everything together, so I'm really not stressed out about it anymore, and you don't have to be either. So instead of actually eating, maybe preparing meals together, and we do a lot of that. But befriending the crock pot. You know what? I love my slow cooker. I have an Instant Pot book coming out, but I still love my slow cooker more, but that's because I'm a planner. My mom never had anything planned, and that just taught me to, kind of plan. But if you like the Instant Pot, it's great because you can throw a whole frozen chicken in there. It'll be done in like 40 minutes. It's fantastic. But I always have like protein waffles. If I get everything out to make them, I'm actually going to do a quadruple batch. And then I put them in the freezer, just like an Eggo waffle, and my kids can throw them in the toaster oven or whatever. I make my own syrup and things like that. They know where everything is. But I'm a planner now, and it just works that way. So we have like pizza quiches and protein muffins and all of that type of stuff. These are my cream cheese pumpkin muffins. Again, I told you I worked at coffee shops since I was about 15 years old. This was one of my favorite recipes, and I just made them keto, right? Dinner, I always prepare dinner for the next night while my kids and my husband help clean up the dinner. And don't be afraid to ask for substitutions at wherever you are, on the cruise, whatever. I had, 2 omelets made, and I didn't want it vegetable oil. Yes, they make them in vegetable oil. I said, here, you can use butter, thank you. But don't be ashamed to ask for substitutions at restaurants. They want to serve you right. If you're looking how to get started, this is free for you, but I have like a shopping guide, supplements that I love. But if you go to my blog, there's discount codes, like Everly water. If you see my kids drinking pink water, they're like, oh, food dye, right? No, it's Everly, it's all natural. But I pack that when I travel. But yeah, all of the things I love are on there. I do have books. If you want a free recipe, that's totally cool. There's like over 1,000 on my blog. You don't have to buy a book. I understand everybody's in a different situation. Or you can ask your library to carry them. That would be great. But, I want everybody to be successful on this. I do have a free ebook. Oh, wait. Is it on there? If you go to mariamindbodyhealth.com, I'm giving away a free ebook. There's weeks of meal plans in there. All of this helpful information, so you don't have to buy a book. I know I'm a terrible marketer, but that's how I roll. But that's my speech, and you all can have a good lunch now.
Let's try that again. Maria Emmerich.